Hello, everyone. It's your girl, Jenna. Yes, the queen of commentary. We're doing a little bit, we're doing something different, guys. New year, new channel, new vibes. So, you guys know as I change in my life and what's going on, we bring it to you guys. So, I am crocheting now on the channel. I find it so therapeutic and awesome, and I would suggest more people do that. Okay, but today's topic is a Proverbs 31 woman, and this is for everyone because I feel like guys need a Proverbs 31 woman, and a Proverbs 31 woman needs to be picked up by a good guy. So this is what God has bestowed on me to use this platform for his knowledge and for his good. Even with the celebrity stuff, I always try to put God's word in it because he is everywhere. Okay. All right. So while I talk, I'm going to attempt to do my satchel. This is my granny squares that I made. I sewed them together, and I said I'm going to make a satchel, which is very spiritual because satchel is a bag, a small bag. In fact, let me look what is a satchel, okay? And while we wait, guys, make sure you thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, guys. I usually go live, but the lives are not living at the moment, so I'm just going to upload these videos and see how they do, okay? And cut your notifications on. Leave us a comment. All right, I got a lot of shy people on this channel, and I know that's a lie. You guys want to talk. I know you do. So go ahead and do so. All right. A satchel is a type of bag that has a strap and is usually used for carrying books or other items. It is worn across the body with the bag hanging on the opposite side of the shoulder. So we have our strap that I actually made. Okay. And this is, what my satchel is going to be. And so what is your spiritual satchel? This is a physical satchel that has not even been made yet. But what is your spiritual satchel going to have in it? Okay, now I know, since I've been reading the word and God has really been maturing me. We think that when we're grown at 18. No, we're never grown. Grown means you're not growing anymore. Anything that doesn't grow or mature, it dies. Okay, so let's spiritually not look at ourselves as grown anymore and just know that every day we're supposed to be learning. So what is going to be in your spiritual satchel throughout your life? No matter who's watching this and what age you are, what are you going to pick up and put in your satchel? Because you can only carry but so much in a satchel. I used to love purses, big, huge purses back in the day, and I was like, what am I going to make out of these granny squares? You know what I mean? And the Spirit just told me, make a satchel. And then, of course, make it a spiritual thing, because we just want to pick up certain things, okay? It's nothing wrong with carrying your satchel. You just don't want to become a bag lady, okay? So you need to know the difference. All right, so let's get into it. What is a Proverbs 31 woman? I had come across this term on social media, just like you guys came across what I'm talking about. And you guys are going to look it up for yourself. You're going to read the word for yourself, and you're going to look up what is a Proverbs 31 woman. And so I'm going to give you what they call a synopsis of what it is. But it's your responsibility to go and see for yourself. All right. So, number one, she is trustworthy. She is trustworthy. What does it mean to be trustworthy? Well, trustworthy, trust, Trust, usually means, especially in church or whatever, the trustees, that means they deal with the finances. They deal with the money. Okay. So a trustworthy woman. Who is an example of not being necessarily a trustworthy woman? She's in the spotlight now, or kind of, sort of. She wouldn't be considered a trustworthy woman to me, and that would be Shawnee O'Neal, right? Shawnee O'Neal, Henderson, Okay, that's not a trustworthy woman. Why? Because if you know the history of, and of course this is alleged, okay, the history of that is that she took some money when she was back with Shaq and put it someplace else and did something with his paraphernalia. She, was not embodying, and she probably doesn't even know, and she's a first lady now. And she probably doesn't know, she's not embodying being trustworthy. So you want to be a person, a woman who is trustworthy with the finances. I know, your husband or your partner or whatever, your baby daddy may come home and pay the bills, but he gives you that money and he trusts that you're going to allot those that the monies to the bills, allotted to the food, to the clothes, to take care of the children. This may not be something that you guys physically talk about, but trust and believe that a good man wants a trustworthy woman. I'm going to go ahead and kind of build upon that a little bit. All right. A lot of people are going to respond to that and say, well, is he trustworthy? Is he this? You have to understand, even though you may be married, your decision to be a Proverbs 31 woman is on you. At no time do you dictate what your actions are going to be based on your partner. Partner just may not be, to your level yet. They may not know. But at no time are you to use an excuse to say you did something because he did something. Okay? We're not going to go back to the time where, Eve, went to Adam and say, hey, I bit this apple and this, that, and the other, you go ahead and do it too. No, we are to be trustworthy as Proverbs 31 women. We are to not tempt our partners, but bring him nothing but goodness and godly things. Okay? Her husband can rely on her and she does him well all the days of her life. Didn't even read that part. I already knew it. If you are trustworthy, then trustworthy will be within that home. Okay, if you're doing devilish things, if you are all over the place, if you're not carrying yourself correctly, then that is going to cause the man to do the same. Now, am I saying it's your fault that he's doing X, Y, and Z? Are you okay?
I am.
Okay. Am I saying that you, the cough?
I'm sorry.
The cough.
Sorry.
It took me off of my swag.
Being trustworthy.
Okay. I don't know where I was going with that. God, put the words back in my mouth, in my mind. I'm not saying that if he's not trustworthy, it's your fault. No, it's not your fault. But we sometimes can feed the negative in our men. You have to understand there's a specific verse. Excuse me. Okay, so I found it for you guys, all right? The verse in the Bible that says that when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing is in Proverbs 18:22. It reads, he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. Now, the way I will translate that to what I understand and how basically, when you are getting the word from somewhere, you want to make sure that they go to the Bible, of course. But of course, sometimes they're going to have their own little spin and things. So that's why it's good to always read it for yourself. But we're the prize, right? Women, we are the prize. We, for the most part, if you are a good woman, you're going to steer your husband in the right direction. You are. You're not going to feed that aspect of him that might be, a cheater or maybe a liar or maybe a person who is like what you would call a narcissist, which is basically a Jezebel spirit. That's how we're going to That's what's the tea today. We're going to translate some of these worldly words and translations and bring it back to the original. Okay. The narcissist is that's in the world, but in the spiritual aspect of it, it's a Jezebel spirit. We don't want to feed those aspects. We all can embody those negativities. And so the only thing that will basically cause those negativities to dissipate, get lower, and go is replacing that space that was negative with godly things. So a man finding a woman that he can marry and settle down with and have a whole family and life, that is a good thing. That is a blessed thing. He obtains favor from the Lord, meaning he is blessed. God loves that. This verse is part of the book of Proverbs, which contains wise sayings and instructions for living a godly life. And for me, my life has become so much easier. I knew I wasn't going to be able to do both of these, but I'm going to try. Once I started living more in my purpose. I've been saved since I was 12, but I have just started to live in my purpose. And that'll be another message, guys. That'll be another message on another day. All right. So yes, be that woman who is trustworthy, because you're going to basically get the best out of your partner, assuming that you allow God to give you discernment to know who to marry and who to have children with and things like that. And to be honest, guys, I have to say this. I don't care what day and age we're living in, living in sin, living in fornication, living in adultery is not a blessed union. Okay? Get married, make it right. I have to say that. And it is what it is. She is industrious. She works with her hands. And this is what it is. This is how I knew that, I was going to go and say, okay, what is the topic today? And I listened to Prophetess Montgomery, Tiffany Montgomery, and she said that, you don't go to Google or you don't go to the computer to ask God or to ask what this dream means and this. And so you go to the Lord. And the Lord, once you get that discernment together, once you get your life more settled, the voice comes through as clear as mine is coming through to you. It'll be just like a friend, your true friend, talking to you. So it's not something that you know how you say something told me? Don't say something told you. God told you. The Holy Spirit. He left the Holy Spirit here for us to have, make this life much, much easier. And I shouldn't say much easier, but, to make this life it's much easier. It is what it is. Easy is relative, okay? She is industrious. Yes, she works with her hands. She manages her household and provides for her family. So, God told me, I picked up, the Lord sent me to this salon years ago. When I first got licensed, I went from salon to salon to salon. And almost all of those salons I worked at are no longer in business. In fact, he got me out of a lot of the salons before things got worse for them. It's like I was the light, and once the light left, the protection of that place left. Okay, and a lot of them I left because they did me dirty. But sometimes, all the time, the Lord you have to go through something for you to value true peace. Okay? If everything was good from the start, you would not appreciate it. Okay? You appreciate good things. And this is just my opinion. You appreciate good things when you've gone through a little something. It helps you to understand. So yeah, I seen this lady, these people, they were crocheting. They didn't offer me the knowledge. It's just God had put that spark in me to say, you know what, won't you pick that up? My grandmother was the same way. One of the last things I remember before the Lord took her home, she said she was in a hospital, and we were visiting her. And it's funny because the Lord had me have like such a close relationship at that moment. Like I washed her feet. It was spiritual. In fact, I've never talked about this because I didn't even realize it, but I washed her feet. I had a discussion with her, and a nurse walked in and she looked at me and she said, "How would you do that hairstyle?" And I was like, I was a new person in the game. I was a new hairstylist. But when she asked me that, that was basically saying, everywhere you go is like your canvas, as you being an artist or you being a person who does things with your hands. You always have to be in that mind to say, how would I do this? How would I do that? And it's funny that that business brought me to crocheting, because I went to this salon. I saw them crocheting and I was like, God said, hey, pick that up. So just like my grandmother had said, how would you do that? The Lord spoke to me and said, how would you do that? Basically, go ahead and pick that up. In fact, it didn't even happen in that order. Actually, I got the urge to start crocheting before my grandmother even said that. So he placed the seed first, and then that was confirmation to say that's exactly what you're doing. Sometimes, he will send signs and say, do this, do that. Because that's what a Proverbs 31 woman is. I didn't know that then, but me having this message now is like he was gearing me to be a Proverbs 31 woman, so I can make clothes, so I can stay focused, so this mind can do what he wants me to do instead of what the devil would want me to do, which is be all over the place, mourn the people that I'll be talking about during these videos that are gone with God, but they taught me such great wisdom that was from the Bible. A lot of it was from the Bible. My grandmother would just teach it. And then I'm reading Proverbs, and I'm reading Psalms, and I'm reading Genesis, and I'm reading the Bible in general, and I'm seeing little things that she said through the Bible. Okay? So yeah, that's very important to understand that a Proverbs 31 woman is someone who is busy, but busy in God's vineyard. Okay? She is generous. She is generous. So the thing about it is, what does generous mean? Let's break down what this generous means. She extends her hand to the poor and the needy. Now, someone who is, not understanding what poor and needy are, or those words mean, would think that poor and needy means they're homeless and don't have any money. We all go through a period of time where we are poor and needy. It might be financially poor. And usually if you're financially poor, you're going to become spiritually poor. That's why it's important to have your spiritual satchel full of wisdom, love, and knowledge, compassion. That's what your spiritual satchel is supposed to be full of. So if things happen where, okay, well, money's a little funny or things a little bit whatever, you can go into your spiritual satchel to fill up those voids. Because money is like a stream. It's going to go up and down. It's not going to always be the same. Why? Because we change over time. So you have to have your spiritual being strong. Stronger than your bank account. Okay, ladies, I'm talking to the single ladies, because you have to be a Proverbs 31 woman before getting married. Getting married does not mean, okay, no, because more than likely, if you're not living this way, the wrong person is going to want to wife you up and make you a mom and things like that. So you want to start living your way now. And even if you're down the path now and you're doing this, you can always become a Proverbs 31 woman. Remember Mary Magdalene? She was not a Proverbs 31 woman. But when Jesus came to her and said, sin no more, yeah, basically she became a Proverbs 31 woman. Okay? So, yeah, that's what she's generous. So, poor does not necessarily mean that they don't have money. You can be monetarily sound, but still be poor and needy. Okay, that's what I do talks on that on this channel about who, woman may be very successful monetarily, but internally, she may be poor and she is poor and needy. Okay, for those things I just talked about. She is not a Proverbs 31 woman, but one day, maybe one day, she can become one. And that's anybody. I was not always a Proverbs 31 woman. I was raised to be one. When your grandmother tells you that we were only meant to, mate for life for one person. Ducks mate for life and certain animals mate for life. And so we are above the animals. That was a nice way of her saying, don't be out here, sleeping with everybody. That's being a Proverbs 31 woman. Or, my granddaddy saying, go home and cook something for your man. That is a Proverbs 31 woman to tell, his granddaughter to say, hey, take care of home. You take care of me, but make sure you're taking care of home, right? All right, let's go to the next point. She is wise, okay? She speaks with wisdom, kindness, and she fears the Lord. That's a Proverbs 31 woman. Yes, so you want to speak wisely. And wisdom does not necessarily come with saying, oh, I've been there, done that. That's one thing my grandmother told me to say. Say, look, a lady doesn't say I've been there, done that. Because to be honest, you don't have to been there and done that for you to know not to do it. That's wisdom. You get what I'm saying? There's a saying out here saying, basically, a wise person, a smart person learns from their mistakes. A wise person learns from others' mistakes. Something to that nature. You can kind of look that up yourself. But basically, that's what it is. I ain't gotta be out there, and say, look, I've been there, done that. That's why I'm glad my grandmother told me, don't say that, because been there, done that doesn't make you wise. Because eventually that discernment has to click in and say, look, I'm not going to do this. If I can't afford this, why would I do that? You get what I'm saying? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. All right, we're gonna wrap this up, but this is my calling. This is what I'm gonna do until God tells me to go and do this, and that's how it is. So when people say, "Oh, you're a jack of all trades," that's devilish. No, we're not gonna say that. Or you're a gypsy because you move around. That's devilish. Oh yeah, I've been told all of this from people who didn't know better, of course. But now those things are ringing in my head. No, when it's time to move, it's time to move. He told Lot, okay, I'm about to take down Sodom and Gomorrah. He said, if you don't get out of here, you're going to go down with it. So, yeah, we're meant to move. We're not meant to we're meant to stay still. We're meant to stay grounded like a tree. Yes, that's true. But when it's time to move, we got to move. We got to do that too. And so you have to have the power of discernment, and you have to have that wisdom to know when to move and when to stay still. I mean, there's a verse in the Bible that says there's a time to be born, there's a time to pass, there's a time to reap or sow, and there's a time to reap. There's a time to be happy, there's a time to be sad. You should, it is what it is. When you know that balance, you become balanced. When you know everything ain't gravy every day, you understand, okay, stuff happens. But stuff ain't supposed to happen all the time. You're supposed to have a time where you're balanced and everything going great. And that's okay too. A Proverbs 31 woman is often considered a model for women's behavior following the virtues taught in Christianity. Okay? And that's one thing I looked at my grandmother as, because my grandparents raised me from 13 on up. And that is one thing that I can also say, that she was a lady, a regal lady. She taught me how to sit. A lady crosses their ankles, not their knees. You know what I mean? And taught me how to do things. And of course, I saw her get older and started to, and as we get older, things happen. But at the end of the day, she instilled that in me. And hopefully I'm helping you guys understand the same. Okay. She is also known as a virtuous woman, the wife of noble character, or the woman of valor. Okay. So I would encourage you guys to look further into that. Go to Proverbs 31, read the whole story, because a mother was talking to her son and telling him what to look for in a wife. Okay, so I would encourage you to go ahead and read that for yourself. Okay, so stay tuned for more of these videos, guys. I feel in my element. I thank God for that. All things come through him. And I'm gonna tell you, when you're not doing your purpose, that's going to be another sermon. Okay, another message. I gotta do another video. When you're not in your purpose, then that's when the devil can come in. So find your purpose and find it through God. I'll see you next time.